Hello students, welcome to my channel. I am Hasham. So this is the last video on the problems of income from house property. So already 12 problems we have completed on income from house property, 13, 14, 15, 3 more problems I am going to complete in this session. So hope my regular viewers have already watched the earlier videos, got the command how to compute the income from house property according to the provisions of Income Tax Act 1961 for the assessment year 2021. So after doing so many problems, you got a good grasp on the topic. So if you are new to my channel, I suggest you to visit the playlist of my channel. You can find so many subjects videos available: financial accounting, advanced accounting, cost accounting, corporate accounting, income tax, then business statistics, financial management, investment management. So many videos are uploaded. Visit the playlist, select your subject, select the topic, watch the video and enhance your knowledge. So now, before starting the 13th problem, I expect my viewers to have the printout of the problems which I have given in the link under my description. So before watching this video, take a printout of the problems, keep it ready. Now I am going to start 13th problem. Srikant owns a house at Jaipur. Municipal value is 65,000 and fair rental value is 78,000. So MRV is given 65,000, FRV is given 78,000. During the previous year, the house is used for its residential purpose. That means the SSC is having only one house and using that house for residential purpose, self-occupied house. So already in the previous video I explained you the annual value, the NAV of self-occupied house will be nil. No deductions are allowed under section 24 except one deduction, that is interest on loan taken to purchase, to construct, to repair, to renovate or to reconstruct the house. Only interest on loan will be allowed, right? And during the previous year, the house is mortgaged with a bank for a loan of 5 lakh rupees at 15% interest to renovate the house. So the SSC has taken a loan from bank 5 lakh rupees. Why he has taken the loan? To renovate the house. So interest paid on the loan taken to renovate the house will be allowed as deduction. If we calculate 15% of 5 lakh, 15% of 5 lakh, it will be 75,000. So 75,000 interest he has paid. But remember, loan taken for the purpose of repairing or renovating, whether before 1499 or after 1499, the amount allowed, the maximum allowed is 30,000, not more than 30,000. So if a loan is taken for repairing, renovating or reconstructing the house, the least of the following two will be allowed as deduction: actual interest paid or fixed amount of 30,000. So here actual interest comes to 75,000. Whereas maximum limit is given 30,000. So only 30,000 will be allowed as deduction. Compute income from house property for the current assessment year. Now see here. Computation of income from house property of Sri Srikant for the assessment year 2021. Gross annual value nil as usual. No municipal taxes will be allowed as deduction because it is self-occupied house. NAV will be nil. Deduction under section 24A, 30% of NAV nil. No deduction allowed. Then interest on loan is 30,000. Just now I told you actual interest paid is 75,000, but that is not allowed. Maximum limit 30,000. The loss from house property, loss from self-occupied house is 30,000. The interest on loan taken to repair or renovate the house either before or after 1/4/1999, the deduction is limited to 30,000. Not more than 30,000 deduction will be allowed if the loan is taken for repairing, renovating or reconstructing the house, whether the loan is taken before 1/4/1999 or after 1/4/1999. That is the solution. Now see the 14th problem. Problem number 14, you see. Sri Rahul is owning 3 houses. All the houses are used by him for his residential purposes. From the following particulars, advise him selecting his option for self-occupied property. Now this SSC Mr. Rahul, he is having 3 houses and all the 3 houses he is using for self-occupation, self-residence, not let out. So Income Tax Act has given the provision that an SSC can keep 2 houses as self-occupied. Only 2 houses can be kept as self-occupied. When he is having 3 houses, the Income Tax Act will treat 2 houses as self-occupied and 1 house as deemed to be let out. Actually, he has not let out, but Income Tax Act says we treat 1 house as deemed to be let out. Now the choice depends on the SSC. Which houses he can treat it as self-occupied and which house he has to treat it as deemed to be let out. He will calculate. The SSC will calculate where his tax liability will be lower. The tax liability will be lower wherever his income is lower. Income is lower. So we have to treat. We have to check the cases. First case we take first house and second house as self-occupied and third house is deemed to be let out. First case. We find out what is the net income from house property by treating first and second house as self-occupied and third house as deemed to be let out. What is the net income from house property in this case? Second case, if we treat second and third house as deemed to be let out, first house is second and third house as self-occupied. Second and third house as self-occupied. First is deemed to be let out. Now third case, first and third as self-occupied, second as deemed to be let out. So we will change the cases. We will treat first house as deemed to be let out, second house as deemed to be let out, third house as deemed to be let out, and check what is the net income from house property. So whichever case we will have lower income from house property, that option the SSC will choose. Now we have to calculate. Now house number 1, house number 2, house number 3. Municipal rental value MRV is given 10,000 per month, 9,000 per month, 8,000 per month. Fair rental value FRV is given 12,500 per month, 10,000 and 9,000. Municipal taxes paid 18,000, 16,200, 15,000. Interest on loan taken to repair the house 14,000, 20,000, 30,000. Insurance will be ignored. It will not be allowed as deduction. Now one by one we have to check. Now see here, according to provisions of Income Tax Act 1961, only any 2 houses can be kept as self-occupied and the third house has to be treated as deemed to be let out. 2 houses, he can keep it as self-occupied. Third house, deemed to be let out. Now we have to find out which is better. Which house to be treated as deemed to be let out? The first case. Let house number 1 and house number 2 will be used as residential and house number 3 as deemed to be let out. First of all, I am evaluating on what basis? First and second house as self-occupied and third house is deemed to be let out. What is the total income? I will find out. So first of all, gross annual value GAV. First house nil, second house nil, third house 1,08,000. In the problem it is given. The GAV is higher of the following 2. In our problem we are given MRV, FRV. We are given MRV and FRV. So here house number 3, the MRV is 8,000 per month and FRV is 9,000 per month. Which is higher? 9,000 per month is higher. So I am taking 9,000 into 12. 9,000 into 12, 1,08,000. Municipal taxes. Municipal taxes will be allowed as deduction only for deemed to be let out. Third house, 15,000. Deduct kar do 93,000. NAV, nil, 93. First and second house self-occupied, so NAV will be nil. Third house deemed to be let out. So we have calculated GAV minus municipal taxes 93,000. Now deduction under section 24. First standard deduction under section 24A, 30% of NAV. No standard deduction for house number 1 and house number 2 because they are self-occupied. House number 3 standard deduction is allowed. So 30% of 93,000 you will get 27,900. 27,900. Second is interest on loan taken to repair the house. Interest on loan taken to repair the house. This will be allowed as deduction even for self-occupied house also. Self-occupied house deduction will be given for interest paid on loan. So in the first house, the interest paid on loan is 14,000. So 14,000 deduction I have given. 14,000 deduction for first house, interest on loan. Second house, interest on loan is 20,000. 20,000 is given. But if we give 20,000 here, so 20 plus 14, 34,000 will become. it will become 34,000 if we give 20,000 deduction. So we can't give 20,000. Income tax provision says the maximum limit of interest on loan taken for repair is 30,000 for all the houses taken together. For both the houses taken together. Because both the houses are self-occupied. For both the houses, self-occupied means the maximum limit of deduction is only 30,000. Out of 30,000, 14,000 is allowed in the first house. So 30,000 minus 14,000, 16,000 is the maximum limit of deduction which can be given for house number 2. So in the problem it is given as 20,000. We cannot give deduction for 20,000. If we give 20,000, it will become 34,000. 34,000 deduction is not available. Only 30,000. So 60,000. And third house is 30,000 given in the problem. Interest on loan is 30,000. Now subtract. 0 minus 14,000 minus 14,000. 0 minus 16,000 minus 16,000. 93,000 minus 27,900 minus 30,000. 35,100. So in third house, we are having income. Whereas first and second house, we are having loss. Now we will find out the net income from house property. So 35,100 minus 14,000 minus 16,000. 5,100 is the net income from house property in case 1. So if the SSC has chosen this first and second house as self-occupied, third house is deemed to be let out. In that case, the net income from house property will be 5,100. Now we'll change our option. First case we have taken first and second house as self-occupied. Now second case I am taking first and third house. First and third house as self-occupied. Second house is deemed to be let out. And then again I'll find out what is the net income. So let house number 1 and house number 3 will be used as residential and the house 2 will be treated as deemed to be let out. In that case, how much is the total income? See here. House 1, 2, 3, GAV. First house and third house, nil. Second house, GAV is 1,20,000. How 1,20,000? You can see house number 2. MRV is 9,000, FRV is 10,000. The higher value is 10,000. So 10,000 into 12, 1,20,000. So 1,20,000 is the GAV for second house. Higher of MRV and FRV. Less municipal taxes will not be given for first house and third house. Second house municipal taxes given 16,200. Now deduct nil. 1,20,000 minus 16,200, 1,03,800. Nil. Now deductions under section 24. First standard action under section 24A, 30% of NAV. So 30% of 1,03,800, 31,140. Nil, nil. Interest on loan taken. Now you see, first house and third house are self-occupied house. The total deduction under self-occupied house is 30,000. First house we are giving the deduction 14,000. First house we have given the deduction 14,000. Third house it is given interest on loan is 30,000, but we can't give 30,000 deduction because already 14,000 we have given. Now 30,000 minus 14,000, 16,000 is left. So maximum 16,000 deduction we can give for house number 3. House number 3, 16,000. Second house interest on loan is 20,000. This is 20,000. Now subtract 0 minus 14,000 minus 14,000. 1,03,800 minus 31,140 minus 20,000. You will get 52,660. 0 minus 16,000 minus 16,000. Now we calculate the net income from house property. Here 52,660 minus 14,000 minus 16,000. You will get 22,660 as the net income from house property in second case. So if you compare the first case and second case, first case is better because he is getting less income from house property. He is getting 5,100 as income from house property. If you choose the second case, his income from house property will be 22,660. More income, so more tax he has to pay. So comparatively, first and second mein, first is better. First option is better. Now we evaluate the third option. What is the third option? Treat the second and third house as self-occupied. Treat the second and third house as self-occupied. first house will be deemed to be let out. Let house number 2 and 3 will be treated as self-occupied and house 1 as deemed to be let out. Now we'll evaluate. Gross annual value. First house is deemed to be let out. So what is the GAV of first house? MRV 10,000 per month, FRV 12,500 per month. Whichever is higher. FRV 12,500 is higher. So 12,500 into 12 for 1 year, it will become 1,50,000. 12,500 into 12. So 1,50,000 is the GAV. Second house and third house nil. Municipal taxes for the first house is 18,000. So minus 18,000. Nil, nil. So deduct NAV 1,32,000, nil, nil. Now deduction under section 24A, standard deduction, 30% of NAV. So 1,32,000 into 30%, 39,600. Here nil, nil. No deduction, standard deduction will not be given for self-occupied house. Now interest on loan taken. The first house interest is 14,000. It is given in the problem. Interest on loan on the first house is 14,000. I have given. Now second house is 20,000. The second house interest on loan 20,000 I have taken. Third house it is 30,000. But 30,000 deduction cannot be given. अगर 30,000 ले लिए तो वो 30,000 plus 20,000 50,000 it will become. Income Tax Act says for self-occupied house maximum deduction will be 30,000 in aggregate for all the houses. He is having 2 residential houses, दोनों का मिलाकर 30,000, not more than 30. So already 20,000 we have given here. So only 10,000 interest on loan will be allowed on house number 3. House number 3. That's it. Now income or loss. First 1,32,000 minus 39,600 minus 14,000. 78,400 is the income from house property, house number 1. And second house minus 20,000 minus 10,000. Loss in second and third house. So net income. Net income is equal to 78,400 minus 20,000 minus 10,000. 48,400. See here. If the assessee has chosen the third option, then his income from house property will be 48,400. More income. When he is having more income, he has to pay more taxes. Now we compare it. If the assessee choose the first case, his total income will be 5,100. Income from house property. Income from house property will be 5,100. Second case it is 22,660. Third case it is 48,400. So whichever option he is having lower income from house property, that option will be better from the point of view of assessing. His tax liability will be less. If he choose the second or third case, his tax liability will be more. He has to pay more taxes. So ultimate conclusion, it is suggested to adopt case 1. That is, let house number 1 and house number 2 will be treated as self-occupied and house number 3 as deemed to be let out. Since in this case the net income from house property is less. So our ultimate suggestion, treat the first and second house as self-occupied and treat the third house as deemed to be let out. In that case, his total income from house property, net income from house property will be lower. That's it. So this is the end of problem number 14. Come on, now we'll start the last and final problem. Problem number 15 on computing the income from house property. See carefully, 15th problem. Srimati Mamata is the owner of a house. During the previous year, she has let out on a monthly rent of 2,000. So actual rent is 2,000. The municipal rental value 30,000 per annum, MRV. And the rent of similar building, FRV, is 35,000 per annum. So we are given MRV, we are given FRV. And actual rent is 2,000 per month. Srimati Mamata incurred the following expenses. Municipal taxes 4,000, insurance 300, interest on loan taken to construct the house 6,000, ground rent 250, repairs 4,000, collection charges 500. Out of so many expenses she has paid, she will get the deduction only for 2. That is municipal taxes deduction she will get and also interest on loan taken to construct the house. Only these 2 deductions are allowed. Regarding all other ground rent, repairs, collection charges, insurance, no deduction will be allowed according to provisions of Income Tax Act. During the previous year, the house was let out for first 9 months and thereafter Srimati Mamata occupied for a residential purpose. This is the new point. Here, during the 12-month period, 9 months she has let out. Remaining 3 months she has occupied as the self-residence. That means not let out. The part of the year let out and part of the year self-occupied. Specific provisions are given for this in this case by the Income Tax Act. The provisions are, when a part of the year is let out and part of the year is self-occupied, you have to calculate the ARV only for the period of let out. ARV you have to calculate only for the period let out, whereas MRV and FRV you have to take for the full year, for 12 months. So MRV and FRV should be taken for 12 months, whereas ARV should be taken only for 9 months. In this way we calculate the GAV. Deductions will be given for the full year. Municipal taxes, full year deduction, and interest on loan taken to construct the house, full year deduction, whereas other deductions are not allowed. Now see here. So here, computation of income from house property of Srimati Mamata for the assessment year 2021. Gross annual value less municipal taxes, NAV less deductions 24, 24A, 24B, income from house property. Now carefully you see here. The house was let out for 9 months and self-occupied for 3 months. But the first point. The ARV is calculated for 9 months, whereas MRV and FRV should be taken for 12 months. These are the provisions given by Income Tax Act. Then deductions will be allowed fully. Like municipal taxes, interest on loan, fully allowed as deduction. For self-occupied period, income is not to be computed. Self-occupied period is 3 months. So you should not calculate the income from self-occupied period of 3 months. No need to calculate. So directly we'll calculate for the let out period. Now see here. GAV is higher of the following 3 amounts. MRV 30,000 per annum, it is given in the problem. FRV 35,000 per annum, given in the problem. ARV, actual rental value, monthly 2,000. So how many months she has let out? 9 months. So 2,000 into 9 months, 18,000. So higher of these 3 amount is 35,000. So we got GAV 35,000. Now carefully you see. GAV 35,000. Now municipal taxes paid are 4,000. Deduct 4,000, 31,000. Less deduction, standard deduction under section 24A, 30% of NAV, 9,300, and interest on loan taken to construct the house, 6,000. Take the total 15,300. Deduct 15,300, 15,700 is the income from house property. And note, we have given no deductions are allowed for insurance paid, ground rent, repairs and collection charges. That's it. So I have completed 15 problems on computation of income from house property. So first, my suggestion, you must watch the theory video. First video I have given explaining all the provisions of how to compute the income from house property. If you watch the first introduction of the theory, definitely you can be able to follow the problems, you can be able to understand the problems. All the problems depend on the provisions. So after doing this 15 problems, definitely you will be in a position to write in examination with confidence. So if you are satisfied with my lecture, give a like to the video, give your suggestions, comments on my lectures, share the channel in your group, in your friend circle so that more students can watch the videos and increase their knowledge. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. In the next video, I will start the next topic called profits and gains of business and profession. That is the third head of income. We have completed salary, we have completed income from house property. The third head of income is profits and gains of business and profession. That we'll do it in the next class.